This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Becoming the most valuable sports franchise in the world doesn't happen without risk. A man who's willing to bet it all, and the players ready to make their own luck. America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, is the story of the 1990s Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones's impact on NFL history. Featuring interviews with iconic 90s players and more. Watch America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, streaming now only on Netflix.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall, fixture from the past edition. My name is Nick Hart and we're here to consider the strange Hollywood glamorised club that is Wrexham FC, who we face on Saturday. I say strange because having been possibly one of the few people ever to have been to Wrexham from South East London, not that many fixtures to pick from over time. It's a very unglamorous place, but somehow, of course, with the arrival of Rob McElhenney, is it McElhenney? How do you say his name, dear listeners? I don't know. And Ryan Reynolds, the two Hollywood actors, they've acquired an international fan base, according to Wikipedia. The documentary series Welcome to Wrexham being the driving force. So good luck to them. I don't begrudge them a bit of a moment in the sun. But it's quite strange to think of Wrexham as any kind of glamour club. But there we are. That's modern football for you. Like I say, we haven't actually played them very often, in truth. Wrexham joined the Football League in 1921, along with Millwall, in the expansion of the Football League post-First World War. But they were placed in the Third Division North, which they rarely left. And we're in the Third Division South, which we occasionally left. So the twain never met, really, in truth. Our first Football League fixture is the one that I've picked out for your delectation today, which is in 1961, March 1961. I was but 5 months old at the time. This is a fixture from the old Division 4, which grew out of the combined third divisions, South and North regional divisions that they had in the post-1921 period. But it was combined into a fourth division, which existed for many, many years. Nowadays, you'd call it League 2 in the modern parlance, but Division 4 at this time. So this is a 2-0 win for Millwall over Wrexham. First time we ever played them in the Football League, certainly. No club, no FA Cup fixtures listed on the 11v11 site, which is a wonderful resource, incidentally, listeners, if you're ever looking to put together any kind of historical podcast of any or piece of any description, 11versus11.com. 2-0 win for the Lions, 11th of March, 1961. This is a game played at Coldblow Lane. Goals from Joe Broadfoot on 32 minutes and Alf Ackerman on 48 minutes, settling the issue. Played in front of 8,958 fans at the Den. This was in the 1960-61 season. And the 11 for this particular fixture, some great names here. Reg the Cat Davis, Dennis Jackson, the goalkeeper, Dennis Jackson, Pat Brady, Dave Harper, dad of Frank Harper, the film actor, Ray Brady, Des Anderson, Joe Broadfoot, we've mentioned as a goal scorer already, Dave Bumstead, Alf Ackerman, another goal scorer, Peter Burridge and Brian Bevan. Now, this season began under the management of a very famous name, our last England player, actually, J.R. Smith, Reg Smith, managing with not great success in truth in the fourth division in the late 50s. And he would actually move on during the course of this season. After which, in March, Ron Gray would take over, a man who would go on to greater success. But J.R. Smith was manager. I'm going to come back to J.R. Smith later in this little edition, but he was the last Millwall player to get a full England cap in the late 1930s. And he managed with us 1959 to 61, this particular season. A season where we'd finish in sixth spot in Division 4. The top four used to get promoted in the fourth division, so we would miss out on promotion this particular season. But have a look at the goal scorers for the season. It was an okay season, but it wasn't, it certainly wasn't a promotion season. But Peter Burridge, one of the names I've mentioned in that starting 11, 38 goals for the season, dear listeners. 38 goals for the season. Second highest goal scorer was David Jones on 24. So, what's that? That's 58, 60, 62... 62 goals between the two top scorers and the other goals spread through the side. So it's a measure of the kind of times that we were in at that point. Fourth division football, but blimey, we had some goal scoring forwards at that point. Now I've got one match report. This is from the Weekly Dispatch, which was a Sunday newspaper of the day. So this edition is the 12th of March, 1961. Millwall was so superior, says the Weekly Dispatch, or the Sunday Dispatch, I've seen it used as. So Millwall 2, Wrexham 0. Millwall's midfield superiority should have given them a much bigger goal margin over Wrexham at the Den, they say. But visiting centre-half Alan Fox was a stubborn and powerful defender. Millwall took the lead in the 32nd minute when a partial clearance came out of the penalty area to Joe Broadfoot, who hit it first time from a crowded penalty area. 3 minutes after the restart, a pass from Bumpstead to Harper saw the wing half burst into the Wrexham penalty area to square the ball across goal to Ackerman, who had only to touch it past the helpless Johnson in the Wrexham goal. So that's the report. So a good win for the Lions in front of just short of 9,000 at Coldblow Lane. And as I say, we would finish in sixth spot in that particular division that season. So I've picked out a few names I've mentioned already. The aforementioned manager, J.R. Smith, Reg Smith, known as. He's listed as a player, a great player for Millwall in the 1930s. The Second World War would obviously, as with so many of that, the greatest generation, I think we can certainly call them. The war would intervene in many careers, let alone football. But Reg played as an outside left for the Lions, 138 games, 26 goals between a long stretch, 1935 to 46. And as I keep saying, that does include the Second World War, when he would have played wherever the service sent him to. Born in 1912 in Battersea, died in 2004 in Stevenage. A career taking in Hitchin Town, an amateur at Tottenham Hotspur, St Albans, Millwall, then after the war, Dundee and Corby Town and Dundee United, Western Province, is that not South Africa? South African football. Millwall manager in 1959, coached Addington, which I think, I don't know if that's Addington Croydon or Addington abroad, I don't know. Bedford Town, Cape Town City, possibly in South Africa in that case, in 1965. Electrical engineer Reg, this is from Neil Fissler's A to Z resource. Do get it, the A to Z of Millwall players. You can't do this kind of show without this kind of resource behind you, dear listeners. Do recommend it, Millwall A to Z by Neil Fissler. Electrical engineer Reg Smith played for Hertfordshire and won Spartan League honours before he joined the Lions. He helped the club reach an FA Cup semi-final in 1937 and lift a Division 3 South title 1 year later. He was the Lions' last full England international, winning 2 caps and scoring against Norway on his debut. And he was capped during the Second World War when he served in the RAF. He's a member of the Dundee side that won a B Division title in 1947 in Scotland and was Falkirk manager when they won the Scottish Cup 9 years later. Reg managed Millwall for 2 years, as we've said, 1959 to 61, and worked for Singer Business Machines until he retired. Reg Smith, servant of Millwall as a player and then briefly as a manager, and the last Millwall player to get an England cap. I've picked out a few other names from that starting 11. Dennis Jackson, a right back, 85 games between 1959 and 61. Born in Birmingham, passed away in Birmingham in 2014, born in 1932. Came to us via West Brom, Aston Villa. Joined Mill May 1959, then moved on to Rugby Town in 1961. The biography here says Dennis arrived at Coldblow Lane from Aston Villa, for whom he appeared on 8 occasions in 3 seasons. He was appointed club captain, and during his 2 seasons as a Lion, he was a model of consistency with his firm tackle and good ball distribution. During his time at Millwall, Dennis continued to live and train in Birmingham and was released by Millwall because he refused to move to the capital. Must have trained it down, blimey. And he returned to non-league football. Dennis later became manager of the Villa All-Stars team and was a bookmaker before he worked at a bakery. This, as I keep saying on these shows, listeners, this is a very different era of football, isn't it? Electrical engineers, Reg Smith, England international, and he was an electrical engineer. And now here's Dennis, not quite so illustrious perhaps, but working as a bookmaker and then a baker. Candlestick maker missing from that little list perhaps. Another name, Des Anderson, a midfielder, also named in this particular 2-0 win over Wrexham, as we've said, 1961-64, 51 games for Millwall and just the 1 goal in that time. Born in Edinburgh, 1938, and he passed away in Chelsea on October the 17th, 2019. A former Scottish schoolboy international, Des joined Millwall from Hibernian in June 1961, but played just 2 games in the 4th Division title success in his first season. Des left Coldblow Lane, one of 15 players released by Ron Gray, who we've mentioned already, after relegation to the 4th Division again in 1964, and he joined Southern League Dartford. He later served his old Edinburgh buddy Dave Mackay, famous name, as assistant manager at Swindon Town, then Nottingham Forest and Derby and Walsall. Few games as Mackay as manager. He was then a publican at the Black Dog in Burton-on-Trent, the Hollybush Inn in Breedon, and the Queen's Head in Ashby de la Zouche. Des Anderson, 51 games, 1 goal. Final name from the list, a name that I've not come across before, and as I've said a few times on these shows that I've done, it's great to maybe give a bit of a platform for names that don't often get mentioned in Millwall circles anymore. Shame, but that's what we try and do on these shows, is just to, give a shout out to some of the great players and lesser players perhaps from the past. And this one's Brian Bevan, an outside left, played just 3 games, so not a great contribution, some might argue, but he's a Millwall player, so he gets a shout out on this show. Came to us via Bridgewater Town, Bristol, and Millwall in 1961. Then after the brief sojourn with us, he'd go on to Salisbury and Barnstaple in 1963. Brian was recruited to fill the problematic left-wing role. Like some before and some after, the move was not a success. A West Country native, he started his career with Bridgewater and then Bristol City. Brian made a steady debut in the home game against Doncaster Rovers after joining from Carlisle. But within months, after making only 2 more first-team starts, this neat and tidy performer dropped into non-league football and returned to the southwest. He now lives in retirement in Newport Park in Exeter. Brian Bevan. Like I said a few times, I'd like to pick out obscure names as much as the big names, and we may never mention Brian Bevan again, but I thought this would be an opportunity just to give him a shout out from the past. Invaluable stuff there from Neil Fissler's book, Mill A to Z. I believe, I think Neil said to me that he's doing an updated version. Do keep an eye out for that, and if you get a chance, pick up a copy. It's a brilliant piece of work. An updated version too coming, so keep your eyes open for that. Brilliant stuff by Neil Fissler, Mill A to Z, the full record. There we are, dear listeners. So there we are. The glamour club that is Wrexham come to us on Saturday. This fixture we've picked out comes from 1961. The most famous fixture was the one in 2001, the promotion season, where we went there and won the League Division 2, 3rd Division Championship. But that's the away fixture, so I'm going to save that up for later in the season. For now, that's the show. I do hope you've enjoyed this little look back into the past, Mill versus Wrexham. Do stay tuned for further such editions over the course of this season. Do let me know if you like them, or if you don't like them. That's always another option, isn't it? Do leave comments do leave comments on Spotify, and you can leave comments on YouTube, because it gets carried on YouTube too. So do let me know what you think. And until the next edition, dear listeners, from me, Nick Hart, thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. But it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now. I want to give a shout out to our friends John Kelly and Will Scott over at News at Den. Many of you will know that News at Den is the go-to site for everything Millwall. It's part of the Southwark News. the only newspaper with a dedicated Millwall reporter who follows the Lions all over the country. What we may not know is that Southwark News is an independent small business with no investors, no big media company, nor multi-millionaire owners. It's a rare breed, a local paper for local people. And John and Will get the Millwall stories that no one else can. A lot of their stuff is free to read, but the in-depth pieces are for subscribers only. It's just £3 a month or £30 a year, and we think it's a proper bargain. By paying, you're supporting local journalism done the right way. You can sign up by visiting southwarknews.co.uk and clicking on the News at Den section. southwarknews.co.uk, click on News at Den Plus.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.